think this is correct. All right, you guys see it should be the opening slide. There we go.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, and then let me bring up the control screen.
Sure.
All right, so I made an app that's supposed to help people alert others when their pet gets lost. It's called Fur Baby Finder. I figured that was a pretty catchy name. Let's see. So first we come to the splash screen activity. I use an intent filter in the Android manifest to force the application to go to the splash screen. And then I use a handler. You can just kind of show the background, but then as soon as it's done loading, which sometimes can be really, really quick if they've got it already kind of cached in the background, and you don't get to see that. So I did put a handler on there just so every time people could see the logo. And it also gives it sufficient time to boot up if it hasn't already been run. And the XML is really, really simple. It's just an item tag that holds a bitmap image. So here is the Android manifest. Here at the bottom is where I set up my splash screen and my intent. Okay, so this was the Java for the handler. It's delayed 2 seconds, and it goes from the splash screen activity to the main class, or the main activity class. And here is the XML for it, which is, like I said, was really easy. I made my own gradient using colors that I liked, and then I set up a bitmap to hold the logo in the center. So after the splash screen, you come to the main screen activity, and it's where they get to choose to sign in or register. I did use, if there's no input, they get an error message. Signing in is just a username and a password, and the XML is a basic sign-in design. So here is it running on the right-hand side. Over here on the left, I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that. My dogs are losing their minds. I'm about to have to
No, it's okay.
go lock them inside. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, this first one, this is sign in on click, and it will let you know whether or not the information is correct and the person is signed in. At the bottom, this is a set on click listener for register, and it'll take them from the main activity to the register activity class. And let's see, this is the XML for the sign in. I didn't want to zoom out too far. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's just an image view for, oh, shoot, let me go back a page. It's an image view up top to hold the logo, a text view for the sign in, and then edit text boxes for the email password, and then buttons for sign in and register. So the other way you can go off of that screen rather than signing in is registration. It's a simple registration page as well. So it asks for an email, a password, and you get to enter your name. And then I use validate input. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go outside in a second. Let me see. Okay, and here is just the XML for it. Same thing as before, image view to hold the logo, and then everything else. If you'll notice up behind the relative layout tag, I have orientation vertical, and then I'm using the drawable BG gradient for every single background so that I have congruency through the entire app. So for the home screen activity, this is where they get to choose to access the menu or click the report pet missing button. The menu is attached to a toolbar. I just made it the same color as the background to basically make it invisible. Otherwise, there was no real way to make it invisible. Online, they talked about having like a setting to make it see-through, but I couldn't figure it out. Okay, so here it is. It actually, let me see, as it's on create, it actually pulls an extra piece of text from the login screen. It pulls in your name. And so it displays it under the welcome right there. And then you've got report pest loss button. And then you've got a menu up here right under on create and set content. I've got my toolbar. And then inflating it is in a method that's a little lower down. Let me see. So yeah, this is, let me see. Yeah, there's the on create options menu. There's the menu inflator. And then there's my on options items selected. So this is actually an older image of the on items selected or options items selected. I've just got some placeholder toast messages here telling me what it'll do. I've since updated those and I'll show you when I run the app. So next would be the alert activity. So if you press the button that says report my pet lost, it will come to this screen. So I modified the screen that I showed during the midterm. I cut the fragment down a little bit in the XML, and then I put an edit text under it with a button that'll take you to another activity. But it shows you your GPS and everything up here. And then you put the phone number in and send it. Let me see. Yeah, and then this is mostly just the stuff to get the map up and running. Different ones. And then there's a button send SMS. This takes the alert number from the get text, puts it into an intent, and then sends it. All right. And so, yeah, when you access the map on the phone, this is what it shows. This is actually a clip from my phone rather than the emulator inside the program or inside Android Studio. And this is what you actually get. This is legit my house. So it shows within just a few feet of where I'm actually sitting in the back corner. And this was just at 5:40 today that I took this and added it. So this is the XML for that alert activity. You got a text view, the fragment, which is what you see in the middle, the edit text, which is where you put in the phone number, and then the button. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Let's see. So the other thing you can do from the home screen is the options menu. Let's see. So yeah, again, like I said, these were placeholders when I was building. I didn't want to build my PowerPoint presentation at the last minute. So I just, put placeholders in for the time. They've been since updated. Let me see. And then here's the, what is this one for? Yeah, activity user account. So here's the toolbar that you end up putting. I use this, it's mid-orange. I was using a lot of orange range colors. So this is just a self-named color, but it basically, like I said, makes it the same color as the background so that I don't have to deal with it looking stupid. Because I really didn't like when you run the application, the initial color that it sets up is purple. So there's like a purple title bar at the top of every screen. And I thought that was annoying and ugly. Let's see. Yeah, and so this is the user account activity. This is where the user will come to add a photo. And this isn't done right now. All it is just this welcome screen, but this is where they'll come to add photos, which actually I'm thinking about not putting a photo in the database, instead just putting it as an added intent when I click the button, and it'll just pull it from my images folder. But like I said, that part's totally not done yet. So the other way you can go from the home screen is like once you go to the alert, and then once you put in the phone number and click send the button, then you send the SMS message. Sorry, my allergies are really bad right now. But when you click the button, it takes the phone number, it sends it to this intent. And then it asks, since I'm using SMS, whether or not we can send SMS messages. You allow it. And then there's the string number, get intent, and it uses SMS Manager to send a message stating my pet's lost, my latitude is, and then it adds in latitude and longitude. Up here at the top, there's a marker in Sydney, but it doesn't actually go there. It overrides it with the on location change. I was just, I don't know, not paying attention and didn't remove that part, but it can be removed. So in the SMS message, when you once you send it, it goes to this screen, and then it just lets you know that it sent a message. Here it is. So once you hit the button, it goes to this screen. It lets you know that, or you get the text message. And then when you open the text message, what you see is this message right here. And it gives you the latitude, longitude. I want to figure out a way if I can't, I don't know, maybe send a message that's a little less, I don't know, because you got to go to a different website to look up a latitude and longitude, or to find, where somewhere is. So I kind of want to maybe send a image of the map fragment so that people can see, and then also send the latitude, longitude. But I did not have time to finish that. And then, so this is just Android manifest, like extras, Android manifest, build.gradle, and shows a user entity design. So here was Android manifest. This is the first screen of it. Here's all my permissions, background, fine, course. I don't know if it actually was the case when we built, or when we took our mobile applications course, but now you have to access course and find location to be able to get find location. The Google Maps API will no longer let you just access find location. You have to request permission for both. So this was the second one, and you guys saw this one already. Here's, it's got my key up at the top for the Google Maps API, and then all my other activities. The user entity, it's got the user ID, the primary key, which auto generates, the setters and getters, pretty basic, normal stuff. This is the database. This is what takes the DAO, builds the database and everything. And then, yeah, this is the actual user DAO. This is where you make your queries or whatever from your app to your database. So I've got insert query. I was going to do update or change, and then add delete, which I haven't added delete yet. I don't know why this one is at the end. All right. So let me. All right, now I'll open Android Studio and I'll run it real quick in the emulator.
Yeah.
All right, you guys can see the app or the code.
Yep.
All right. So let me see. I'm assuming it's taking an extra second because we're on Zoom. But yeah, here we go. Awesome. So splash screen, main screen, you can try to sign in. It gives you a toast telling you got to fill everything out. Same thing on the register. You can say you want to sign up, but it won't let you since I already have an account. So this is where you go. This is the main screen, home screen. Up here, you can go to the account. Like I said, this is where I want to add people's ability to alter things in their user's account. You can view a map. And this was the stuff I was saying, the functionality wasn't there in the slide screens, but it is now. And of course, because I'm showing this on the emulator, it's going to show that I'm in California. But obviously I showed you the screens saying that it does work, and it shows, my home. The other one is log out, just logs you out, takes you back to the main screen. So when you go to report the pet loss, that's when you go to the alert activity. Once again, at Google, it's telling me at Mountain View. If I were to put in just my number, and then it takes you, this is the full page map. And I removed the toast message, but it should say when it does it, a message has been sent to your selected user, and then the person would get your latitude and your longitude. So yeah, other than that, that is pretty much my app.
Awesome. Great. Actually, great presentation. I really appreciate that. Any question
you.
from the Welcome? Any question from the audience?
I don't have a question, but I really like the idea of your app since I have pets also, and like the last thing, you want to happen to them is for them to get lost.
Exactly. Yeah. So can you share again, please, the code?
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
No,
yeah, there we go. Here, I'll get rid of the emulator. Actually, I'll keep the emulator up and I'll just go here, main activity.
Can you go to the coding where we are sending the messages to the phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me see. So what it actually is from the home screen.
Mhm.
Let me see, where is it? Right here. So if you click the lost button, which is the button that I named for, reporting your pet lost,
Yeah.
it starts a new activity, which is the, let me see, here's alert activity.
Mhm.
Alert activity is the one that's broken into a couple different sections, including the map, your location, and then where you would put in the phone number. Let me see, where is it? There we go. So button send SMS, it's in my on create, which is the main method. And so for the button send SMS, after you put the string alert number, which is SMS number.get text to string, alert activity will go to SMS message dot put extra, and then you put the alert number in there and you start the activity.
Okay.
So
Yes.
SMS message, once it opens up, it's basically pretty simple. It asks for permission requests up here.
Mhm.
And then down here, this is the on location change. And so when it on location change, it picks up your most recent pin that goes in the Google map. It go ahead and it sends the text message using SMS manager, which is right here. So you have the number, which is the get extra. And then you have the message, which I pre-built the message to basically say, like I said, my pet is lost, my latitude, my longitude, and then it just fills those in. And then I use location.getLatitude, string.value of to fill those out.
I really love that you design your homepage and your logo. So with which software you use to develop your logo?
So I actually found a free logo creator website. I can't remember which one. I was, just in kind of scrolling around. I could have looked at like 15 different sites, but I finally chose one that had something I liked. And so I made it and it gave it to me in just like a simple image. So I had to go and remove the background from it in Photoshop. And then that way there wasn't like a big white square around it or anything unattractive about it. It was just that foreground image And then, so that way when I laid it over my background that I built, yeah, like I said, there wasn't like a big white or black square around it from where it had been saved as an image.
Awesome. Can you go to the colors.xml? Oh, it's a
Which one?
colors.xml. Colors.
Yeah, absolutely. So colors, these are a few of my ones. That mid orange is the one, like I said, I made my toolbar that color so that it would kind of stay transparent looking with the background. My buttons were a different color of orange, my light orange, and then my lost button color, which is a hard red. Let me see. I changed some of the themes around and stuff like that in order to get the action bar to look like I wanted it to. Let's see. Where is it? So yeah, here's the gradient. Here's actually how you make a gradient. You create an XML, you create a shape, and then inside the shape, you create a gradient, and you can tell it how to go linear. You tell it to go different directions. And then from the angle of linear, you can tell it. So I've got 45. That's why it kind of runs at this angle, the gradient. And then you start color, end color, and it creates it for you. It's actually really, really easy. And then, so from the gradient and the logo, I just created that.
Awesome. Very good. I really love your idea. As Kenny said, the idea is very nice, and also the way that you presented, very nice, very good. Thank you so
We'll
much.
be,
And it actually aligns. The good thing is that it actually aligns with your charter. So that's the thing I really wish to see, and I see that. So nice. Thank you.
right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I got the idea. My girlfriend and I walk our dogs in the park near our house, and there was a lost dog sign up for a little Boston Terrier named Spike. And, like I put myself in their position, and I think probably going to end up using my bachelor's degree in software development to help animals more than any other group of people or anything. But yeah, that's what keeps me centered and keeps me going.
Yeah, the idea is great. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing
Thanks.
that. Yeah, I really appreciate those who actually want to do something for the society and for the community, utilizing the knowledge they are gathering. So you are gathering computer science knowledge and developing software knowledge, and now you are utilizing that knowledge to help the community. So that's awesome. Outstanding. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Did you want me to share anything else or stop?
No, I think that, yeah, I don't have any question now, and I think that audience also don't have any question. So I think that that's a great one. Thank you.
All right, good to go. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, great presentation from Jackson. And want to go next?
I can then.
Kenny. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Sure. Yesterday also the very great projects. Student did great projects, and so today also I'm surprised and happy to see your projects and everything. Nice. Kenny, yeah. It's your floor.
Is it? Do you see my screen? Oh. Right. So for my capstone, I did a game. So this is a 2D game where like players can like traverse the terrains, obstacles, and they can earn points and reach new levels. It's a simple game where kids and adults can enjoy as a pastime, and it's made through the Unity game engine. And I plan to try to put it on the web after I'm done with it. Probably like there's a few websites like called Simmer .io or itch.io, stuff like that. There's a lot of games out there that people development just throw on for others to play, stuff like that. And the requirements for the project is Unity, and for the coding part, it's using Visual Studios. So for my game design, there is a multi-level layering design. This on the right side is called a sorting layer, or layer masking, and it's how most of the game logic works, and it dictates what happens when the player were to interact with said layer. It works in a hierarchy order, so the player would be at the forefront, while everything else that's less important, like the background, like water and stuff, it's more in the back. Enemies, interactables, stuff like that, it's more on the front. But player is definitely the first, like would be like the forefront. And there is a start menu, a depth menu, end menu, stuff like that. So the player can just navigate how they choose. There's custom platform designs. I used free sprite sheets, like for this terrain right here, stuff like that. And I made my levels out and all stuff. There's also like hazards, traps, or water, spike traps, stuff like that. And of course, you know, for a game, you're gonna have to have a controllable player that can move around freely how I please. And an exit portal that leads to the next level after you're done with that. Okay. So for movement, I use Unity's input system package. And with that, it's defaulted to have like the move keys as a WASD, or like the number pads keys and stuff like that. But you can also add like your own custom keys if you want. Like for me, I added jump for spacebar, and that's how the player moves. And then how the player interacts with the terrain and all the other stuff, I use things called colliders, and the player has two colliders. This image only shows one of them, but he has two. If you see this green ring, it's a collider, and it dictates if a player, if this circle touches another collider of the terrain or something, like what happens to it. So in this case, if this circle touches the ground, and the ground has a line, like the player won't fall through the line. Then I also added animations for this. This animation is mainly done all through Unity. You have a sprite sheet, and you slice it up. And once you slice it up, you take those sheets, and you put each of those sheets into a frame right here. And these frames play out when you create an animation. So when you create an animation for a you have to create a animation controller, and you add that controller to the player. So when you make a controller, this bottom of the screen, this is what happens. So by default, you have like entry and idle. Then you can create separate animations. When you create separate animations for it, you drag it into the animation controller, and you can just link them up. So the way that these work is it checks. It does a check in code if the character is running, or if is it climbing. So each time it does a check for this, the animation would change accordingly. Okay. So then I also had a life system for my character. I created in the Canvas UI, Unity's UI system, and it encompasses the whole game. So it stays throughout the entire game. Then I had to create a game manager that handles the logic for the game. It's linked to the life system. So if the player dies, it will subtract the life from the counter on top, and if the player gains points, then it will add points to the top. Then the game manager also handles if the player dies, then does the level restart, or does it end up in the death screen instead? So these are the in-game interactables. Like I said, the colliders are very important because it's what makes the game possible for things to interact with each other. They can be dynamic, static, or kinematic. So with enemies, I also set up an animation for them, and I coded in my code, I made limited movement for them, and I also made movement if they were to collide with something. If you see this little rectangle box right here, if that moves away from a terrain, it will flip the character around, and they would go back the other way. And I also added a bouncer. This basically is like a boost to the character. It would boost them up and like give them like a 2x jump or something like that. For this component, I had to add a physics material to it to make it kind of bouncy, and that's done through Unity. And then for my traps, this trap wolf is also use colliders, and it would kill the player if the player touches the screen line right here. And also, like, if the player dies, it would kill subtract life and all that stuff too. And for ladders, it's the same concept, colliders as well. If the player touches the ladder, like, he's able to move up and down the ladder. And there's gravity set to the ladder as well. So like they don't go sliding down the ladder. And with the coin, there's animation to it. There's points to it. Then there's also sound to it. And if the player touches it, the player gains points, and the coin gets destroyed afterwards. So I only have 2 levels in my game right now, and the first level is just something simple and easy for like people to try out, you know, get a feel for the game, and like yeah. So then the second level is supposed to be a little bit more advanced, it's a little bit more challenging to the player, you know. It's something to get them to think and like how they want to move around, you know, stuff like that. I do plan to add like a third level to like really, really hard, but I haven't gotten to that yet. Yeah, and that's it for our PowerPoint presentation. I can show you my code stuff now. Is this? Can you guys see this? Because
Yeah.
I know I have an ultra wide, so it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, we could see it. The text a little
Yes, we can
small.
see that.
okay. So I'm in my player movement script. This basically controls all the player movements. I have his climb speed, run speed, jump height, stuff, all the stuff, all the basic stuff. Then constantly checking if the player is alive or not. And on move is where I'm using the input value I'm getting. Then there's on jump, checking the jump, and if checking if the player is running, like that. And this is where the animation changes. If the player is running, then the animation here does change. And this is to flip the sprite around. And this is climbing and dying. So this is where we use our layer mask. The thing I was explaining earlier is the layer mask of like if it touches the climb, then, you know, it either does something or doesn't do something. And same thing with die. It uses the same concept. And we can go to my game manager. So in my game manager, this is where we like store the player lives, we start the scoring system and stuff like that.
Sorry, can I just interrupting? One request. Can you, yeah, a little bit big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, so then this is how I'm displaying it in my canvas for the player to see. Then This is just checking if the game is awake or not. And this is checking what scene we're currently in because since the canvas is running throughout the game, I want to hide certain text until the game is over. And once the game is over, like the total score and all that stuff would be displayed. But currently, that text field is just hidden right now. And just adding scores. This is just this starts when the player dies. Then this this would subtract the life. Then the start core routine is kind of a delay system. So like the die is not instant. I think I set it to 2 seconds. Then subtracts real lives, then it reloads the scene over and it updates the text for the live. And then like the death reset game is just when they're all out of lives, just reset the entire game.
And so just reset, or it also stores some state, or like score and these kind of things.
I believe I think when it doesn't, I just have it to pop up a menu when the player dies that if they want to restart or go back to the main menu, it doesn't store the score. I didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. This is just menus. It's pretty simple. It's just navigating through like different scenes, stuff like that. And this is a coin pickup system. I gave the coin 100 points, and I found like sound clips that what I wanted to use and added those. And I had to make sure that if the player touched the coin before, and then they died after, that the coin on being revived, that the coin would disappear if they did touch it already. And this does that. Okay. And the enemy controller, pretty simple. Get a reference to it. Give it, update it, and give it a speed. And this is to flip it around when it stops touching one of the colliders has stopped touching another one.
So here the 0F, the movie speed 0F. What is that?
That's the Y position.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to go up and down.
Oh, okay.
It's only
horizontal.
So this move speed is the X position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
X position horizontal, and
yeah,
the Y position is 0. So we are not moving there. Okay.
Yeah, we're not moving up and down. I could if I wanted to add like different enemies and have them move like certain ways. But I want to keep it simple for now. I do plan to add other enemies that maybe do different, like more random movements instead of something like just left and right. Yeah, and this is just my exit portal. That if they touch this blue tube right here, that it would lead them into the next level or the end menu if they're done.
So sorry, what is it? Did you go to the next level?
Yeah, this is like an exit door. That it leads to the next level or the end menu. If it's the last level, it would lead to the end menu instead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can play the game real quick if you guys want to see.
Yeah. Let's see.
Definitely.
Hopefully I can make it happen. Let's unload this. Let's start from the beginning. So this is the starting screen. I haven't given it a title yet, so this is just a placeholder right now. All right, I might not make it. Okay, this is more.
Is it the same animation if he falls in the water, or is it like a drowning fall off the screen animation?
It's still the same kind of death animation. I can add something different, but right now I just keep it.
It's so pretty, isn't it? Very nice.
I wanted to add like a sky background or something, but I just decided to keep it white for now.
This is nostalgic for me because this is what video games actually looked like when I was a kid.
Yeah, I really liked like the whole pixel design.
Mhm.
And I was like looking up sprites. I actually spent a lot of time looking at sprites, more than I should have.
I feel you. Sometimes design over function, though.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
Very good.
my game.
Awesome. Great job,
Thank you.
Kenny. Awesome. Loved it. So anyone have any question from audience?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when so like when he's like jumping and running, the assets you downloaded, are those like the default, like when he holds his hat, is that the default animation, or did you choose that to be like the animation when he runs and jumps?
It's the default animation.
Okay.
The sprite sheet I used, it contained like jumping. There wasn't climbing, but like jumping, shooting, and I just took from it whatever I wanted to use.
So it gives you like a bunch of suggestions and you use
Yeah.
what you want. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I see.
It's all this right here. There's like he can roll also. I believe he has a whip. He has a gun, but I only took what I wanted to use out of it.
Right.
Yeah,
So he's Indiana Jones. Awesome.
yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, basically.
Doesn't Unity come with a bunch of free packages of like backgrounds and all sorts of stuff to use?
I believe they do, but I was searching off like a few websites, like one of them was called like Kinley and stuff like that, and I think it was easier because I think this whole package kind of came together. So it was just like I was like, oh, they kind of match each other, so I want to kind of keep the theme together.
Yeah, Jackson, for answer your question. So they have Unity is giving you 1 year free subscription to a lot of resources. If you are enrolling or you are registering as an as a student. So if you use your student account, student email, and you register for the Unity, so Unity account, you will be getting lots of resources, libraries, and also learning materials for free. Okay.
Nice. Well, I'll have to use my student ID before it expires.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. Awesome. So no question? Anyone? Is that all? Okay. Okay, so I actually, I do think that you did a great job. I in the mid, also you showed your project. So and in the final, also you're doing great job. And I think that I don't have much question. And only one question is that what are the future things you want to add in onto it? I mean, what is the future work you think?
Like I said, it's like a harder level, like more to it, more enemies, more obstacles like that, you know. And the thing the thing I like is once you kind of make that like you like once you make that one enemy, you can just keep reusing them and adding them to different scenes and stuff like that. And you can save it as like a prefab, and you can just keep reusing them over and over, and like this is rinse and repeat out there. And probably a place to actually store like the scores, because I haven't had time to try to figure that out yet. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to do.
Like save their high score and then show
Yeah,
it
like a
back to them.
scoreboard.
Okay, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kenny. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's a great one. I appreciate that, Kenny, for your hard work and also making it successful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think that Steven want to go next, right? Steven?
Yeah, I can go next.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Steven, it's your floor.
1 second. All right, do you guys see it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, this is my my presentation. So I also made a game using the Unity engine, and it's basically a game where you as the players to just dodge any obstacles that come your way, and you just survive long as possible. And this is just a picture of my simple start menu and a picture of the game in action on the right hand side. So basically the things that I have programmed into the game is movement, which can be done with WASD or the arrow keys. And I made a slowdown function if you hold down shift. I had to have a unit collision to, have a way for the player to lose. So basically whenever the player collides with anything really, it will end the game. And then I made 4 different types of patterns or obstacles for the player to dodge to have more variety in the game. And he also implemented object pooling to increase performance, which probably not necessary in a game of this simplicity, but if I were to scale this game, it'd be useful. So these are quick screenshots of the 4 attack patterns I have in the games. And the first one is just lines of blocks with 1 safe spot. The second one is just several blocks and scattered. In the third picture, there's these circles shoot these white bullets targeted towards the player. And in the last one, these yellow ovals shoot bullets in a fan shape. So I can go over the scripts for those right now. All of my attack patterns, whether it's the block or shooters, are based off these 5 orange spawn points that's located up and above out off screen. And then so things basically come from one of these orange spawn points. So most of my code is based off that. So for the first 2 scripts, which involve blocks, so first of all, the block script is very simple. The blocks just fall down straight. So on the top right, you can see it's very simple. When a block spawns, when the Y position gets below a certain value, which is pretty much off screen, it'll destroy it because it's just using simple gravity. The second picture on the right is basically just so my spawn points have 5 possible spots. So for the initial one, for the initial pattern where there's only like 1 safe spot on the side, it would choose a random value and then not spawn the block there, if that makes sense. So there'd be 1 safe spot, and then for the other one, it would just choose 1 spawn point at a time, although faster. So on the bottom, I just have these 2 values that are very similar, except for the first one, it spawns every 1 second versus 5 times a second. Since the first pattern is a little bit harder, so I'm giving the player more time to dodge it. And I could change these values at any time within Unity's UI, which is nice. So the other 2 patterns I have are involved objects that shoot bullets. So the script on the left is the shooter, and this is basically the fields it has to how often to shoot bullets, and the bullets themselves are their own objects and they have their own script. So for the pattern where there's circles shooting at the player, you can just see that when it spawns the bullets, it'll get the direction of the target, which is the player, which is just find object of type player, and the bullet will move towards the player just to make it more challenging, pretty much. And then for the fan shooting, the bullets don't track, but they shoot in a nice fan shape. On the bottom left, you can see all the fields, including the start and end angle. It's pretty much just like below it, almost 180 degrees. And I can adjust these as shown in the bottom right within Unity, so I don't have to actually change the original CS script. I can change the bullet count. And the thing on the top right is just the formula of how to shoot the fan. Object pulling is something I added into the game. It's basically since this is a type of game that has so many bullets, constantly creating and destroying these bullets can take up a lot of processing power. So what object pooling does is when the bullet leaves the screen, instead of destroying it, it just disables it, basically making it invisible or not in use. And then whenever bullets need to be used again, or like for example, when the enemy needs to shoot more, instead of creating a new one, it'll just take that disabled bullet and re-enable it, which takes much less processing power than constantly creating and destroying. So on the picture here, you can see the UI. This is basically showing everything that's in the field. The bullets that are grayed out are bullets that are not in use, while all the bullets that are active are the ones highlighted. So you can see that, there are some in use, there are some in not, and it'll constantly like change as the game goes. Collision. So basically this everything, all the bullets, the blocks in this game have the same code at the bottom. When the player collides with it, it'll run this code on the bottom right, which is basically the end of the game. It'll slow down, show game over text, and then loops back to the start menu pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the presentation, and I can show you. And here is, I can play the game. Oh, that should start. This is the basic menu. I have hovering. Quitting doesn't do anything in Unity's thing, but when I click play, it'll start the game. I can move and dodge and hold shift to move a little slower if I want to do more controlled movements. And then between the 4 patterns, I just have it set to just randomly choose a pattern every time after the other one's finished. So then when I take a hit, the game will slow down. It'll say game over, timer will stop, and then it goes back to the main menu. Yeah, that's pretty much the game. Is there anything you'd like for me to show?
No, Stephen, I think that you did a great job in presenting and also showing your work. I really love that. I'll be asking you my question. So before that, I'm just wondering if audience have any question. Any question?
No, that one was really straightforward.
Kenny,
I like the
Kenny
idea of
may-
object pulling. No,
Kenny may have some question because Kenny did work in Unity. So Kenny, what's your thought?
I don't really have a question, but I just thought his object pulling was it's a good idea to not like waste I guess performance.
Yeah, the more I read about object pooling, I'm pretty sure almost every game uses object pooling in some way or another. Like even something like Tetris or like Candy Crush can use it. But I guess it's mostly for these kind of games where there's several of the identical objects on the field. Yeah, and my game is very simple graphics wise, so it probably wouldn't make a difference. But if you're playing like a game that has like 3D and particle effects, it would definitely save on performance.
One thing I love that, I mean, one game, I mean, one sort of game like is enough for a project. I mean, like senior capstone project. But what Steven did is that he has some variations of 3 different types of games. So that is awesome. I really love that. So that
Thanks.
actually, yeah, most welcome. Steven is really hard work, really paid off. So I appreciate that. So yeah, can you little bit go to your source code, please?
Yeah, sure.
Explain that. Yeah.
Let's see. So it's a little easier to see. I guess I can start with So here's my player code. This is just me just hard coding like how far you can move, which is basically the blue area in the game. This is just to add collision. It's a Unity class. I can change the speed values here, and almost any field that's in here, I can change directly within Unity also. This is all just, it looks complicated, but this is basically just movement code, and this is the code to end the game. Let me show an example of one of the spawners. Well, actually, maybe I should have it up here, or maybe not. Block spawner. Yeah, so here, almost all the spawners have something similar. I can choose the time between waves and how long the attack lasts or the pattern lasts before it switches to a new one. This is basically just updating it, and then so it's very simple. This is basically code. Just it chooses one value within the array, which is 5 spawn points, and if it doesn't equal, it'll spawn. And most of the all my code does something very similar to this. But if you go to a shooter one, it's a little bit more nuanced. Yeah, this one's it's very similar. This one, so instead of spawning a block, it'll spawn a shooter. So I have to go to the bullets to actually show something more new. So yeah, this is the bullet. I can change the speed of the bullets. Yeah, so this is, so I can make it to make the target target the player, which is my intention. But if I didn't set this, it would just shoot straight. I can just make it shoot in random directions. But for the design of the game, I think shooting at the player would be just make more sense. The fan bullet or the fan. Or the fan spawner. I think no fan shooter. Yeah, so this is the code for the yellow ovals that shoot in the fan. So I mean, these are just the angles I chose, and I wanted to shoot 10. I could change that if I wanted to. Yeah. This is just code for its movement logic. And yeah, this is just, it looks really complicated, but like in the end, it's just the start angle up here, the end angle, and how many bullets I want. And I don't have to change any of this. I can make the fan like really thick or very thin just by changing these values up here. And this is the logic that sets it all together. And then I guess the object pulling would be the last thing I would show. So yeah, so this is the bullet pull class, and it's actually not limited. Right now, I only have it to go off of the fan shooter and the yellow bullets, but I made it so I haven't implemented it yet, but I can make even like the blocks use this or the other shooters. I only added it to the fans first because it uses way more bullets. But basically, so when it wants to get a bullet, if there's a bullet in the pool, it'll grab one that's in the pool and then make it active and go. And if there's not enough bullets, so basically like when the game starts and the game hasn't created the bullets yet, it will make the bullet. And then usually the destroy method will just basically destroy the bullets, but so for this one, I changed what destroy does for these yellow bullets and just set it to set active false. Normally the destroy method just deletes it from the game, but for the purpose of object pooling, I had to go into the fan bullets, change what it does to just set it to inactive. And yeah, and that's it.
Awesome. Thank you. So if no question from audience, I don't have any question because he actually went extra mile to show me the more code and clarification. So I think that, yeah, I'm good as well. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
I really appreciate all of your hard work, all of your great presentation. And yeah, I wish you all the best. I think that, if you continue this good work and everything, and keep applying. I think that you'll be, I'll see you in the great companies. Okay. I'll see you in the great positions in the great companies. So yeah, hopefully soon. Okay.
Hopefully, yeah.
Mhm. So thank you so much, everyone. I think that yeah, you did a great job today. So the one thing that I want from you, just to submit your project in zip format, or if you have a GitHub link, you can share the GitHub link, and the PowerPoint presentation that is separate, not in the zip file. Okay. So yeah, that the thing I want from you. Any question from for me?
So when you want our project in a zip, you want like the raw files, like as if you were going to open up in Unity, or do you want me to like make the game as a .exe and then give you that?
I think that I need the raw file. I mean, a whole
Okay.
project. Yeah.
Okay,
Whole,
cool. Yeah.
You should, yeah, awesome. Yeah, you should have a whole project.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that, yeah, I think I want that. Yeah. Because I will, open into my Visual Studio to check more things. And if I have any question, I will get back to you.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Any question?